All right, first and foremost, give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Kakodash, the belongers to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and who is worthy to be counted for the blinders. Peace and salutation to you brothers out there pushing this truth wholeheartedly and sincerely and for love of the gospel. It's the brother Gabari from the Indiana camp coming back at you again with another sit down. All right, real quick, I ain't gonna make this video too long. Basically, I came across this one video, um, and this guy he basically just broke down. He didn't necessarily break it down like scripture wise, but this is a how can I say an example of the Gentiles. All right, he's basically breaking down how Jake can look like a so-called white person or really any nation, but they still have the traits or they still have a spirit of an Israelite. All right, without further ado, let's go ahead and watch this video and then get into it.
I use the Patrick Mahomes theory. Patrick Mahomes' dad, dark skinned man, get with a white woman, then create athletic kids, one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. Very fair skinned man gets with white woman. Boom. And then now look at his kids. His kids look completely white. And what are those kids more likely to align themselves with? Other white people. And so now we just took away our talent in millions of generational millions and gave it back to the white community.
You don't find that suspicious? You don't.
See, now, this is a worldly aspect on it. You got fucking, what's his name? Dr. Umar talking about, oh, don't get with white women and that's going to ruin your reputation. But really, to be honest, that is basically the breakdown of Hellenization. All right. He said he calls it the Patrick Mahomes theory, where you have Patrick Mahomes who had a dark-skinned father and a white mother. Then Patrick Mahomes himself, he got with a white woman, had children who align more so, who looks more like white people, or which we would call them Edomites. You see, but deep down spiritually, those children, even though they look like the so-called white race, they still are Israelites through the spirit. All right. It doesn't matter what they look like on the outside, and that's why you have a lot of people out here who you don't judge them by the outward appearance. All right. You judge them by how their spirit acts. You see, you don't look at how they look out on the outward appearance, which is what they face, their skin, the eye color, their hair texture, because what they can be looking like a complete Edomite, blonde hair, blue eyes, but what their mannerisms, how you what you get to know them, you be around them, certain things they just don't vibe with, certain things they don't fuck with. And you'd be like, damn, this person, he looks like a white person, but man, he vibes with black people, and that's another reason. That's another reason why Jake has such a hard time saying that not all white people are bad or evil, because 9 times out of 10, the so-called white people that they're thinking about, or the so-called white person that they're like, oh man, no, I got a white homeboy who's cool, he grew up with me here. Well, 9 times out of 10, that person, that so-called white boy or white woman that you're talking about might be an Israelite. You see, just because because you gotta think Jake carnal. These niggas in the world, they're carnal. They look at the outward appearance. Oh, if they got blonde hair, they got blue eyes, they got fair skin. Then guess what? Oh, they're white. They're white, or they're European or whatever. No, it only take like 3 generations to change the appearance of a person. Look at Patrick Mahomes' father. Patrick Mahomes' father looked like a straight Judite. Patrick Mahomes' father, like straight Judite. Then what? You got Patrick Mahomes, who looks like, a light-skinned Jake, But then he has, then wait, the 3rd generation, his father's grandchildren look like straight Edomites. Oh, another example. Who? Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin, father, looks, matter of fact, I ain't gonna look at it because I don't got time right now, but Blake Griffin's father, dark-skinned Judite-looking man. Then you got Blake Griffin, who looks more so look like a black light-skinned man. And then what? You turn around and now you look at Blake's children, Blake Griffin's son, who looks like a complete Edomite. I mean, blonde hair, blue eye, look like a complete white boy, But in the spirit, in that child's spirit is an Israelite, and that's what the Lord is talking about. So that's why when we see, and it's a spirit right now, because man, it's a spirit. I see a so-called NW. If a so-called NW walking down the street with a so-called white-looking man, But I'm looking at the way this dude walk. This dude might be a Jake, hand in his pocket, looking down, got a hat on, So, he got kind of like a little swag walking. I'm looking at him right now. He's walking. This dude might be a Jake, but what another person might look at, oh, why does a black woman is with this white man? The whole time he a Jake as well. You see, that's why what we deal with the spirit. All right, we don't look out an outward appearance. We don't look out how a person looks. That's why what Esau Edom has been throwing this black Hebrew Israelite thing around, which we never really claimed that title. We've always said, listen, man, it's through the spirit. All right, you can look like whoever and still have the spirit of an Israelite, as long as your father was an Israelite. You know, matter of fact, that's why the Lord said, what, he shall scatter us. All right. When we get scattered, what does Jake do? Jake is known for popping. Jake is known for macking down on some women. So what's gonna happen? What Jake is gonna get down on some women. He gonna have children by that woman, you know, and then what? We still up under the curses. So what? He most likely is gonna leave that child. The woman's gonna have to raise that child. And then what? The woman's gonna raise that child up under her culture, up under her ways. So what? He's gonna that child's gonna know that child's gonna learn the ways of his mother, and if his mother is a heathen, he's gonna know heathenistic ways, and he's most likely gonna get with a heathen woman, And if it's a male child, then guess what? He's gonna get a heathen woman, and he's gonna get that heathen woman pregnant, all right, which is gonna offspring even more children, which is gonna have the spirit of an Israelite, you know. But if it's a girl, then the bloodline kind of ends, because a woman can't how is it? A woman can't bring forth the nation. She's the carrier. She brings forth the nation. She brings forth whatever her man's nation is. So if an Israelite woman get with a heathenistic man, that means she's bringing forth the heathenistic, the heathens, descendants. But what if a heathen woman gets with an Israelite man? That means that the heathen woman is bringing forth an Israelite child. All right. But basically, this video just proves, it shows you that the whole Hellenization period, where Jake was coming in, around what the book of Acts, what Jake was coming in looking like these heathens, all right? Probably had what, shaved heads, looking like the so-called white, the so-called the Edomites, the so-called Hamites, so-called Moabites, It's like I keep saying so-called. That's the actual name. Looking like Edomites, looking like Moabites, looking like Hamites, That's why sometimes when we get when certain people walk up to the camp, we don't judge them on how they look, They can be coming up with a whole turban, blonde hair, blue eyes, but when you actually get to discussing with them, get to talk to them, then what you find out, like, hey man, this dude, he might have a spirit of an Israelite, And listen, I'll even take it as far as like, I don't even the so-called racist, the so-called racist white people. You even have to look at them. I'm talking about not the racist white people that just hate Jake just for being Jake. I'm talking about the so-called racist white people who hate niggas. They cool with Jake, but they just hate niggas. Because guess what? We hate niggas. Hate niggas. So what happens if you take a nigga? What happens if you take a so-called Jake? Fucking woolly hair, Don Cheeto looking Jake, but you put him in a white, but you put him in that hate niggas, that despise niggerality or niggerism, talking about the pan sagging, the ghetto music, the ignorant, but what, you put a white face on there, what are you gonna get? Oh, see, you're racist. Yeah, that's a racist white man. No, he's just a Jake who hate niggas. You see, so even the so-called even the so-called white people who despise niggertry, they might even be Jake. Just shit, you have Jake hating other niggas. I hate niggas. When you just go out, when you're trying to go to, you go out to a restaurant or to a bar or whatever, and there's some YNs out there, pants sagging, talking about folks this, folks that, on the fin this, on the fin that, just being a fucking menace to society. You don't even want to fucking go out. It's like, damn, man, fucking niggas, man. But here it is. If I had blonde hair, blue eyes, thought the same exact way, then it would be what? It would be considered racist. Or it would be considered, oh, you're a racist. You hate white people. You hate black people. No, I just hate niggas. You see? So even some of these so-called white people who hates niggers, that just doesn't automatically just call, oh, see, they're Edomites. See, they hate niggas. All right. I hope I'm making sense. I know it's a mouthful, but basically, I didn't make this video too long. I just wanted to bring out this video, shed some light on the whole Gentile state of mind mentality. And using this video as an example on this is how basically the Hellenization period was like. Jake would get with heathen women. Those heathen women will raise their children to be a certain way, and then what? Most likely, if that child, or if that male child, I should say, get with another heathen woman, eventually you're gonna have a line of you're gonna have a generation or a line of children looking like the heathens, but whole time really has the spirit of an Israelite. All right, that's why you see certain men in GMS who looks like the other nations, but really, to be honest, they're the spirit that's within that man is an Israelite spirit. All right. So that's all I had. Lord, we'll have this video is edifying free brothers out there. Until next time, shalom.